Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and take me. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the Split me from myself, split me let the ocean rise and drown out the sound. Gunshots in the night as firebirds around. No surrounding walls, we are alone. Take me back to time. Take me back home. Let the ocean rise and drown out the sound. Let the ocean rise, let peace cannot be found. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. Take me to the city and put me on a plane. Take me to the borders and throw me over. I want to tell you what it's like in Palestine. The landscape is a rolling, low expanse of rocky hills inhabited by knee-high stone walls, camel-coloured grasses, and olive trees. The houses are white and the roofs are flat. You can go up through your house, onto your rooftop, and onto your neighbours, and walk across the whole village over the roofs. I want to tell you what it's like in Palestine. I went to a small village in the West Bank called Blaine. When you walk down the main street, you'll see groups of people sitting outside their houses in the sun, talking and listening to music. You can't get from one end to the other without being invited in for chai or kahwa. Hospitality is a big thing for Palestinians. The doors of their homes are always open, and their cooking is amazing. But now, nobody goes. Piles of rubbish infect the village streets because the disposal units are on the Israeli side. I want to tell you what it's like in Palestine. At night, the sky is red and the clouds are purple, and there are no stars. There are no stars in Palestine. No one told me that before I went there. It's because of the light pollution from the settlements. Everywhere you look, you can see them springing up like these weird mushrooms. The black holes of their windows like rows and rows and rows of tiny bullet holes. Under international humanitarian law, these buildings are not allowed to exist. The occupying power, Israel, is not allowed to forcefully move its population into the occupied territory, the West Bank. But yet there they are, and they're growing fast. I want to tell you what it's like in Palestine. Beyond the village, through the fields, down by the settlement, is the wall. This 25-foot slab of concrete separates what is Berlin from what is now Israel. You can see it from the village snaking across the landscape, but what you can't see is that on the other side, underneath that settlement, under a layer of fresh earth, lie the desiccated roots of ancient olive trees. You can't understand the importance of the olive trees until you've been up in them picking the olives. These trees are the village's business, but they're more than that. They're a labour of love. Olives cared for and grown and picked and squeezed into golden oil by hand. Some of the trees are hundreds of years old, planted by the fathers of fathers and maintained over generations. They're the roots of their culture and the soul of their community. But just under 50 years ago, this farmland was suddenly no longer theirs. With no warning and no payment, the land became a military zone, and now the olive trees lie burnt under the foundations of Israel's new world. There are constant protests to try and get the land back, but it's a one-sided fight, and it always ends in violence. The remains of it are littered everywhere. Between here and the wall, the dry ground is covered in tear gas canisters, sound bombs, and bullets. These weapons shouldn't be used as they are being used by Israel. Everyone has the right to protest. It's part of our right to free speech, especially when you've had something taken from you forcefully that should be legally yours. But the Palestinians are treated as foreign terrorists in their own home, imprisoned, even children imprisoned, and targeted with lethal weapons, along with anyone who tries to help them. In Palestine, anything that gets in the way of the occupation is burned. I want to tell you what it's like in Palestine. If you go to the top of the tallest building in Berlin and look out of the window there, along the horizon you'll see a pale strip in between the buildings. That's the sea. Billion's about a 40-minute drive away from the Mediterranean coast. It's beautiful. But the funny thing is, a lot of people in the West Bank don't believe that the West Bank is on the coast, because they've never seen it. Between here and the sea, there's the wall, there are checkpoints, and there are barriers. With my passport and my nationality, I could go through the checkpoints and stand on the Palestinian shore. But somehow, a Palestinian can't. Isn't that crazy? They can apply for a permit to go in this kind of semblance of democracy, but they'll get caught in legal loopholes, racist laws, and in short, they won't be given one. Once, while I was in Palestine, I was with a bunch of people and we started talking about freedom and what freedom is. And one man told me his idea of freedom is just to be able to take his kids to see the sea. It's a deep wound for the people that are being cut off from the country that they love. And it's a powerful symbol of their struggle. Their freedom's just there, on the horizon. It's so close. They have the right to it. It's theirs. But they can't get to it. This is not a war of Israel versus Palestine, Zionists versus Hamas, Jews versus Arabs. There is no war. There's only oppression. This is a corrupt superpower strategically stripping its own citizens of their right to exist. When Israel occupied Palestine, it inherited the Palestinians as its citizens in its care. And it has locked them in the Gaza Strip, rendered them politically powerless, and bombed them. Sorry, but that's not a war. That's genocide. And if you live in the West Bank, your choice is either to flee the country and give the Israeli government exactly what it wants, or to remain stuck in the hands of the military with no rights, no freedom of movement, in constant danger, and watch the gradual ethnic cleansing of their people. That's what it's like in Palestine. It's powerlessness. It's fear. It's wanting to get the hell out. I wrote that song that I sang when I was feeling this the most, just after I'd been woken up at 3 a.m. by the sound of guns outside the window. I was shaken awake and told to throw my shoes on and get ready to run, because there's no telling what the soldiers might do. Their government will support any action they take. They'd come into the village to shoot some tear gas, intimidate people, make an arrest and raid a house. But I tell you, in that moment I was bloody terrified, and I wanted nothing more than just to be somewhere else, somewhere safe. And I realized when I woke up, that's what these people feel like every single day. Any day could be the day when someone you know is arrested, when you're injured, when someone you know is killed. Despite this, Despite all of this, the people I met have chosen to stay. Because that land is all they have. It is their home. They've chosen to hold on to their communities, to fight, to protest, to resist, simply to exist. Because they have hope that things will change. And so do I. Things are changing. A movement is starting. The very fact that you're watching this video should tell you that. This is one of the greatest human rights tragedies of our time. The international community is waking up to that fact, and if we can put enough pressure on our governments, the tides will turn. Walls surrounding walls, we are alone. Take me back through time, take me back home. Let the ocean rise and drown out the sound of gunshots in the night, where peace cannot be found. But we're still so alive, and we will be free. I'll stand on my shore again one day. You'll see the ocean will rise and drown out the sound. The ocean will rise and crush these walls to the ground. Crush these walls to the ground. Crush these walls to the ground. The tides will turn. But now's the part when I say it only with your help. And it's true. Lucky us to live in an almost functioning democracy, where our government sometimes listens to us, where we can affect change. We here can speak for those who can't. But I don't want to be the voice of Palestine. I want to be the scream. I want to yell. Because that is the only way we're going to bring this to an end. I want to be a million voices echoing across the world for freedom. And every voice can be different. If you use social media, you have a voice. If you blog, you have a voice. If you can campaign, you have a voice. If you can fundraise, you have a voice. If you can draw, you have a voice. If you can write a song, you have a voice. Because our voices are our bullets. And with them, we can make row after row after row of tiny holes in the walls of this injustice until it falls. I've told you what it's like in Palestine. Now it's your turn to yell with me. Join the movement. Make sure everyone knows. Yell for me, 'cause I want my friends to wake up one day feeling safe. Yell for international law, which should be one of the strongest pillars of justice we have in the world, but which is being disastrously undermined. Israel's a sick place, and what's going on there is clearly illegal and clearly wrong. Yell, because somewhere across the world, in a place you'll never go to, a child you'll never meet is standing at the top of a building by a window with her father, looking out over rooftops, through fields, past walls and barriers, and dreaming of the sea.